think. Banners. It won't even let me do it. No, brand. Duh. Hold on now. Yeah, you did just right. Hello, everybody. Apex Comics Morning Show. The show that's gonna flow. Hey-oh. All right, we got Mark Burnell of Lesser Known Comics. Hello, Mark. Good.
Hey,
Glad
how's it
chance you're
going?
on. Okay, man. Pretty good. Pretty good. I've notified people, and looks like there's a million streams going on at once. Who knows? But I'm sure somebody will run across this. Yeah. So anyway, man, uh, so you're a veteran. Obviously, I'm a veteran as well. I was in the Navy for 4 years. Served on the mighty USS Nimitz from from 1990 to 93. I went into service in 89. But yeah, you went into service as well. What branch did you serve?
Army. So did about 17 years. Then I was feeling tired all the time, and I thought I had sleep apnea, like everybody has,
Oh
And I
wow.
went, and they were like, "No, you have narcolepsy." And it wasn't till it kept doing those periodic health assessments, and then they didn't say anything, and they were like, yeah. And then all of a sudden, like, some major was like, hey, you can't be in the Army with narcolepsy. And I thought you couldn't, but I didn't want to say anything because I was having a good time,
Right
so
on.
got to retire out a little bit early, and now making some comic books.
Awesome, man. So were you always a comic book fan, or you just happen to stumble upon, oh, I'll just check out doing comics, or what?
um, like a lot of people, I didn't grow up with a ton of money, so it was physical comics were like few and far between. So it was a lot of like the Saturday morning cartoons of X-Men and Spider-Man. But we did have a comic shop. It was close to our house, and I'd pick up X-Force and X-Men a lot, or whenever I could. And so now as an adult, when I was like, especially during quarantine, I was like, I'm an adult, I can afford comics now. And it's like having your favorite movie and then finding out there's an unlimited amount of like unreleased footage, and you're just like, oh my god. So yeah, I started getting back into reading him, and I started um, reading X-Men in chronological order. I found somebody who did a website where they actually have all the X-Men not by issue number, but by timeline order, and then also sprinkle in, hey, they also appear in Avengers here, and they appear in Spider-Man here, and put it all in. I was just like, thank God for nerds
Oh,
out there
thank
that
God for nerds. Hell yeah. You know it. Oh man, that's really something. So how long were you like reading comics? Just you just stumble upon it, and then you just well, what prompted you to build your own comic book company?
so it was just a comic that my wife gave me permission to do. She was like, "Yeah, you're in quarantine. You're annoying the hell out of me. This will give you a good project to, like, you know, stay out of my hair." And I started working with concept artists, and I was going to choose from one of them to work on my comic. And I uh, I fell in love with a bunch of them. I thought they were all great. And so I was like, okay, maybe we'll do three storylines. And we started posting that stuff on social media as they started making the art. And people started showing up out of the woodwork, being like, hey, I got a comic too. Can I publish with you? And I was,
Oh wow.
new and naive. And I was like, sure, why not? It's like picking up a bunch of hitchhikers. Next thing I know, I got this like strange mystery van, that we're got full of all sorts of people. Um, And yeah, one day my wife came in the office. I was like on a conference call with like 14 people, and she's like,
Wow.
"Be honest with me. Did you start a comic book company?" And I was like, looks,
It just felt that way, honey. Come
yeah,
on.
it looks bad."
I'll say hello to the chat. Hello, Justice Dread. Hello, Apex. Hello, Mark. Hail to the chat. Yes, indeed. We have Vincent DeLeon. Apex, greetings, gentlemen. Give me 10 minutes. I just got back from my morning appointment. That's fine, Vincent. Take your time. It'll be on here about an hour or so. It says, hello, Dread. So, be right back. Sure. It's, hello, Vincent. Yeah, so everyone say hello. Morning. I already had my morning coffee. Uh, yeah, I did. It tends to, I gotta make me a little bit regular. I have to pretty much clean out. It's good. So I got my water. Got my morning
Oh
water.
yeah,
There you go.
important stuff.
Um, it's cool. It's so your wife is kind of like, honey, what's going on with all these conference calls and all this? Did you start a comic book company? It's like, what was your
It's not.
answer?
It's not the worst thing you could catch me doing. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So, okay. So you have this somewhat, in a way, large, small comic book company. You know. So how did you come up with the name Lesser Known Comics?
It was my buddy had a company where he was making T-shirts and other sorts of things that he was designing. He was calling it Lesser Known Design. My best friend since high school, and I said, "Hey, I know we're going to work together at some point, so can I just call it Lesser Known Comics?" And then at some point, yeah, sure, sure, sure. Um, so and I think his ethos, and mine especially. Growing up, we played indie music together and did a bunch of other things that were all very much like underground DIY. So we felt that like that lesser known comics, like that lesser known at least title was right in line with kind of how we work.
Kind of like an underground feel in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I used to be in bands too. I played drums for like several years, and I know it is trying to get bands together. And you haven't really quite made it to the top, but you know what? If people like what you hear, they like what they see on stage, and maybe the little ads that you put together, like little
Hmm.
posters and stuff like that. That's always a good thing. People collect those rock posters like you wouldn't believe. Like I
I
remember.
got
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh, I got a visitor in here.
I got a visitor. Hey, you got a little visitor. Ah, she's
Can you say hi,
adorable.
sweetie?
Hello. Hello.
Well, she's gonna dominate the show, so I'm gonna go find I'm
No
just
problem, man.
kidding.
No problem. I can
Hold on one
entertain the
sec.
crowd. Well, whatever crowd we have. Oh man. Yeah, having a family, man, it's very cool. You get the little ones into the comics and make the hobby or make the medium come alive more. So I thought it's pretty funny. Let's go ahead. I want to go ahead and play. I'm going to share something here with you guys. What am I going to do? Yeah, why not? We'll go ahead and, oh, oh, there you are. You're back. I was going to share
Sorry
something.
about that. Yeah.
No
No, go
problem,
ahead. Go
man.
ahead.
No problem. Ah, shoot. What's this thing? Oh, got the. All right, here we go. Yeah, let's get to the chat. Let's see. Genuine Comics says, "Hey, hello everyone, and hello to Genuine Comics." Whoa, okay. So we're talking about underground stuff and music, and
Yeah,
how it
yeah,
evolved into lesser known comics, which is, I think it's cool. People kind of look at that and say lesser known. Okay, well, yeah, it's lesser known because it's not in the mainstream, right?
yeah, and I think uh, we have attracted a lot of people that come from like the indie music scene and stuff like that, and we don't really have a like style that we try and like take submissions from, but we do happen to get like a lot of like this like punk rock like underground type, um so even even if it's a sci-fi like Tank McGregor,
Oh,
it's got like a
let me see
very,
that. Oh, this is
yeah, it's definitely
cool.
got like a punk rock vibe.
Oh, I
We
like
have
that.
a racing
What's the net?
comic,
What was
Death
that?
Wish.
Get back to the first one again. What was the name
Okay,
of
yeah,
that
yeah.
one?
That one's called Tank McGregor.
Tank
Actually, I have to
McGregor.
take it out so it doesn't. Yeah, intergalactic bounty hunter down in his luck has to
Oh, that's
track down
cool.
a runaway pleasure bot that's going on a
Pleasure
murder
Bot.
spree. Yeah,
This
um,
is. Oh, this looks good.
yeah. So even if it's sci-fi, right? It's still got this like this like it's not. Uh, it's not too light, right? It's still got some grit on it,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. Exactly.
Um,
So
so yeah,
um, that must cost quite a bit to print those out. So how many did you actually come up with a budget or anything like that for your company?
so what ended up happening for us when it comes to printing, because we have last check, I think we have 14 saddle stitch books and one graphic novel in the catalog. We just had some artists that either went on to bigger publishers or like went independent.
Yeah.
So because we operate kind of like an incubator. We're like your AAA team. You come, you have your rookie season. You're allowed to drink during all 9 innings if you want, just as long as you're nice to the other players. And then
Right.
if you get called up to the big leagues, like we're gonna wish you well. And so
Thanks,
to
Joseph.
answer your question on that, oh cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, on to answer your question, because we have so many books, we can get to that bulk rate pretty easily. So
Oh, good.
we have a really good deal with our printer, Comix Wellspring, who are the best
Comics
printers I can.
Wellspring. Good.
Yeah, and I can get 25 of you know 10, 20 different books, and as long as I'm getting up to that high amount of because most of it's done digital printing. We don't really use a whole lot of offset.
Yeah.
Um, and then it gets those prices down, for the books, even in small runs, and that helps for variant covers and things like that. Because
Oh, that's
God
really
knows we
cool,
got a
man.
lot of them. Yeah.
So how many titles are under the lesser known comics banner?
It's something I should know. That's like a number I should know off the top of my head. So I want to say there is
Hey,
currently
Mark
13.
Hill.
I think there's 13. And
13. Baker's
yeah,
dozen.
yeah. Because like I said, we just Digital Lizards of Doom, which I have somewhere
Ooh,
around here.
ooh, 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 ooh. Let's
Um,
see that.
that
Let's see that
these
book.
guys just got picked up by a bigger publisher. This is just a proof. But
Oh, cool.
yeah, we had graphic novel series and a couple other series that went on to do some other things. And then
Yeah, show that other
uh,
book that you had. What was that other
which
one?
one?
The second one, but before your Tank McGregor. You're gonna show
Oh,
that one. Oh yeah.
Death Wish. Yeah. So this one,
Death Wish. Okay.
yeah. So this one's written by me and illustrated by a guy named Kieran Quinn. We have the full
Oh,
spread cover
I
there.
love that cover. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
It's not the
So
Charles Bronson Death Wish. It's a different Death Wish altogether, right?
no, but yeah, he did a little homage there where there's some racer in here. Yeah, he's got an old Charles Bronson
Oh, I
looking
gotta see
guy.
this. Where is this? Oh, guys, right there. Yeah, right there. Where your index finger is. There he is.
Yeah.
Charlie
Um,
Bronson.
and it's such a fun illustrator to work with because I never even told them to put that in there. It was when I got the pages back, I was reading my book and I was like, okay,
I'm glad
I get
he's
what you
in
did
there.
there.
Oh, you gotta have Bronson. Gotta have the Bronson there, man. Charlie
Yeah.
B.
So yeah, we have I was reading a lot of like Golden Age stuff. So what I was thinking about Superman and the original, like Action Comics and how you could have whether it's Amazing Adventures or Tales of Suspense or whatever, right? You have characters introduced there and then they have their own roles. So we did 7 of these like lesser known comics,
Ooh.
number 1 through 7. And I think we have like 10, 11, and 12 like or I mean, through 10 through 12 or something like that in the
I like the
works.
lady eating the sandwich. That's cool.
Oh yeah.
I like that. I'm
Uh,
hungry for death. Oh no.
uh, and so yeah, we were doing these short books that all take place in this lesser known universe that I put together. Um, because I needed to try out illustrators, right? Because like I don't know what I was doing. They don't, like some of them are first time creators. Just getting through the process of making a book together. This to see like, hey, is this like a good fit? Like I know I can be a little much at times. Like I want to make sure they're happy working with me just as much as
Yeah.
like vice versa.
Yeah.
Um, and then as we kind of made those little serialized, lesser known comics, then that's where we started to break out into actual like title series. So we have like Death Wish, and then we also have the one that's live on Kickstarter right now, Either Them or Us. Um, and that one is samurais versus witches in 1980s Japan. So it all takes place within the same universe of all these other books, but
Yeah.
it's it's like that first like my first like full length, because yeah, we were doing like anywhere from like 6 to 16 page mini comics, which was one of the pieces of advice I got was just start small. Like you're gonna learn how difficult it is to make a comic book. You may not want to start with like your 120-page graphic novel if you've never made a
Right.
comic book before.
Yeah, my first comic I did, I'll show you, was the back in '96. Very first one. We gotta open this bad boy. It's the only one I have. I only made 50 copies. And a friend of mine had an offset printer. He was in the printing business, thank God. He's from church. I went to church there in Seattle, Washington. And this was after the Navy. And this is the Executor. This is the very first
Oh,
book. Yeah, it's a flip book. I I didn't want I somehow at the time I only had interest in doing like maybe 14, 16 pages, 16 pages of Executor, 14 pages of Femme Fatale. So I get a flip book.
that's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually just got a book. Um, Picked it up from somebody at a convention, so this will be a random shout out because I do want to work with this guy. Uh, but yeah, he
Good.
did something similar because he does manga style, right? So it reads
Oh, let's see
left to
that.
right, like so it
Oh yeah.
reads it reads that way when you go in like from a regular book.
Oh
But
yeah.
then he went ahead and just said, okay, well then I'll do an American comic on the other side. And
That's awesome.
so he did just a short story, with on the coming on the inside. And I thought, dude, that's such a good idea. And it just
Great
like goes,
idea.
it just goes to show, right? Like you show up to these conventions and you see just something that you would never have thought of in a million years.
Oh, I
Um,
know. The manga thing in an American, I mean, who would have thought? I mean,
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
a no-brainer in a way.
yeah. It's it's great. I don't think that I think that some people see that manga as like that there's some sort of competition between American comics, and manga, and it's really not. The I think that there's stuff you can steal, or
Yeah,
borrow, right, from each style.
you can.
Uh,
Noob Reviews, Megan Lee Hale. Thanks for showing up. This girl is popping out big time on YouTube, man. I
oh,
remember
cool.
I had more subscribers than she did, and she surpassed me by over 200. I'm like, ah. But we had her on Rex Hex and Apex show. That's my other show that I have with Hex Allen Comics and Double Flyer Rex. And we three guys, we have a show every other Saturday, twice a month. Coming up on November 5th, it'll be on Double Flyer Momentum's channel on YouTube. So she says, "Hey, can't stay long. I'm at work. Just want to pop in and say hi and leave a like. Have a great show. Thanks, Megan." Megan Lee, if you
Thank
haven't
you.
subscribed to Megan Lee, do so. Yes, she's got a really cool channel. The Noob Reviews. She's a newbie who's getting acquainted with comics. And then she has artists on, and then she learns as she has this YouTube channel about comics. I think it's really a cool thing.
Oh, that's
So
rad.
yeah, it is
Yeah, we'll
very
have
rad.
to. We we actually sponsor a podcast called I don't know shit about comics.
I
And
saw
actually,
that on the Twitter thing. I said, I don't know shit about. Wow, that's fun.
yeah, and what it is, it's my buddy. He's in sports radio,
Oh,
and
cool.
but he goes with me on my road trips, and he just has to sit, like 8 hours in the car of me just like talking comic books at him. He's like, I feel like I should have a podcast at this point, like just to.
I don't know shit about comics. I bet that podcast is growing. I can imagine.
Yeah, it's been fun. I think the tough part is he's at Sirius XM, and during football season, like
Yeah,
I'm not even going to see that guy because
yeah,
he's
he's
just
busy.
he's busy. Yeah, so but it's a good
It
problem to have.
is. It's a great name for a channel. No kidding. I don't know shit about comics. But the little asterisk for the word is like, you know how YouTube is about the cuss words. No, it's a
Yeah.
great name, Megan. It is. Oh shoot. So geez Louise, man. So you have what's that? 13, you had 7 printed up, right? 7 tiles printed up on offset, or do you have more comics on offset?
So actually, and this is one of the things I love about our printer is he was like, when the paper shortage was hitting, he was like,
Yeah.
you do not want to do offset printing right now. He's like, 'cause you don't want to buy, it's just he's like, it's just buying a commodity while it's high. So they actually work with us to say, okay, right now digital's where you want to be, or if like the paper prices drop below margin, um, then they'll recommend the offset. So what we end up doing is when we launch a Kickstarter, um, anytime we send that to print, what we do is everybody else from the catalog, will we'll get them like bulked up on their inventory as well, so it drives that overall cost down.
Let me welcome Vincent De Leon. Hello, Vincent. How you doing, pal? Hello. Hi.
1 second, guys. I'm getting the audio fixed.
Oh, okay.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah. Yeah. You're a little bit loud, but yeah, you're good.
Okay. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah. Yeah. You're a little bit loud, but yeah, you're good. Uh-oh. You want to turn off your YouTube thing?
Yeah.
Silence it at least. Uh-oh. You want to turn...
There we go.
There you go. Now we're live.
Yeah. Still doing it a little weird, but hey, you know what? It's still a work in progress.
You
How
learn
are
as you
gentlemen?
go.
How's the chat? How's their fans? How's everything going?
Good. Going good, man. How you
Great.
been?
Good to see you. Very good to see you.
Cool.
Mark, I don't think I've met you yet. How are you doing?
Good. Nice to meet you, Vincent.
Nice to meet you too. Yeah. I'm guessing we're all comic fans or some type of. I'm not a comic artist. I don't want to claim that, but we're all comic guys, I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah. I guess I'm the only artist on the panel, right? Cool.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if Mark draws. I write, but I don't draw. So, yeah.
I draw and write. So there you go.
I drew when I was younger, and it was crazy. A buddy of mine that I grew up, I think we were like maybe 3rd, 4th grade, when we were friends. He was like, "Oh, it's crazy that you started a comic book company, because I remember when you used to make comics and like staple them together and like bring them over to my house." And I was like, I totally forgot that was ever like a part of my life, that like I would make these, and you never get away with it today. Like my character was named Midget Man, and it was because I was always short.
Good. That's good. I like that.
I was
Midget Man.
Yeah.
I tried to draw when I was younger, but I broke my arm. I was a BMXer skateboarder kid. So I broke my arm so many times that I would forget, and that's how I became ambidextrous. I broke this arm 4 times.
So, wow. What the hell are you doing?
I'm a BMXer, or I was, and a skateboarder. So,
yeah.
And I think there was a moment when I had some decent drawing capabilities, but whatever that was, gone. It's My handwriting, my handwriting looks like a third grader because my right arm can't really write very well. So, but that's probably why I can't draw either. But how's the Thursday or today's Wednesday, right? How's Wednesday going for you guys?
It's going. It's going, man. This is actually getting to the start of Wednesday in the morning show. But yeah, man. Yeah, we're all three veterans, which is cool.
All three of us are vets?
Fantastic.
Mark's Army. I'm Navy.
All right. So we got
Marines,
a gun bunny, we got a squid, and we got a leatherneck. All right.
There you go.
Fantastic. Yeah. My favorite NCO that because I was a warrant officer, and so I had an NCO that worked for me, but he had come to the Army from the Marines, and yeah, this just it's always good to have a Marine around.
Oh yeah, man.
It's good you said that. Yeah, it's good you said that.
Because I never even had to fix anything. I'd walk into the room, and he'd be like, "Hey, sir, I need you to go get a cup of coffee and come back in 30 minutes." And I'd be like, "I don't know what y'all did, but good luck."
30 minutes.
For those in the chat that don't know what a warrant officer is, because most civvies won't, a warrant officer is someone that is commissioned to be an officer in a field of specifics. So they are specific to that field. So there's a warrant officer for like a range. There's a warrant officer for logistics, stuff like that. For those that don't know what a warrant officer is. And they have, in my opinion, some of the coolest insignia. Very cool insignia.
Yeah, it's the best job in the military, because they because you just be just a master of your craft rather than having to wear so many different hats.
That's
and
true.
You know, the part that really, like, I was glad to get out, but at the same time, when I was getting out, I still, as a warrant officer, could go talk to, E1, E2, E3s, right? And like, talk technical, trade craft with them and nerd out with them on things. And I got to hang out with a couple of lower enlisted. I was just like, man, I'm really gonna freaking miss this. That was the sad part of it, where because I can hang out with lower enlisted all day long. It's the majors and above that like would make me want to be like, I'm going to throw somebody through a window. Like, this is,
All right.
Fraternization was always an issue. I was only a corporal. And I didn't pick up corporal until I literally came home from Iraq. It was on my last EAS. Like, literally, it was, so I never got pinned. I never got, the paperwork or anything. It literally said E4. But I made it to E3, and then I got UCMJ'd down to E1 again. So technically, I earned it, But
you earned it.
Yeah. But Chesty Puller said, I'm gonna butcher his statement. He said, "There's no such thing as a good Marine that doesn't have a UCMJ under his belt." So, or Article 14. So
you said testes Puller?
Chesty Puller.
Chesty Puller. Okay.
You know who Chesty Puller is, right?
No, I don't.
He is the famous Mustang. I believe he finally reached the rank of 1-star general when he was done, but he was the one that basically led the Marines through the Korean conflict.
Oh,
he's like, he's the one that famously was told that we're now surrounded and we're all going to die. And he said, good, now they can't escape. That was Chesty Puller.
No, they can't escape. Oh, there you go. Just turn it around.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a whole, and Army guys, Navy guys, Air Force guys, they don't like to talk about this, but there's a whole section of the Korean War that no one likes to talk about. It was the first time, sorry, Gun Bunny, gotta out you here. It was the first time the American military ever surrendered, was in the Korean conflict. And Chesty Puller and his band of rabble rebels decided to run through and collect all of the gear the Army left behind when they surrendered.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and it's a dark time for us because, we were getting our ass kicked in Korea. I don't know if you guys knew that, but we were losing bad. And the Marines came in and turned the tide. So it just, I love our military history. I'm not a history guru. I don't claim to be, but the history that I do know, I love it. I love our military history and learning about
I
it.
too, man.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's so actually it was my grandfather was Marine in the Korean War.
Oh wow.
Which it's what's interesting for me. What was formative for me growing up is he came back to the U.S. After fighting Korea. He had money saved up and things like that. He went to go buy a house in California, of all places. The neighborhood that he went to go buy a house in was too nice for his, being his, Hispanic guy. They were actually like, this house is not available for you. And like, just to imagine that idea that like, you could fight in a place like Korea, which, hell on earth, and come back and be told, yeah, thank you for your service, but you can't buy a house in this neighborhood,
that's bullshit.
Yeah. And so actually he grew up, he told, my parents didn't speak any Spanish in the house. He was like, this is not going to happen to my kids. So growing up in California and, having a Hispanic last name, being, being surrounded with the folks that I grew up with, I was always like, only could understand a little bit of Spanish, and so actually like the characters that I write like kind of deal with that same thing of like, we have a main character that speaks Spanish and her sidekick kind of speaks Spanish, so it goes bilingual in the story. And if you're a Spanish speaker, you're going to get a different story almost than like an English speaker. You're going to be as confused as the sidekick if you don't speak any Spanish, or maybe like me, you kind of know what's going on.
Right.
I like putting in Spanish. I have a character. His name's Gabriel. He's I hate calling him a sidekick to the main character because they both exist with each other. But he speaks Spanglish, and I love it. Right. And he loves dropping in Spanish in a conversation to someone like he's talking to just to confuse them. I love it. I love the way his character develops. Like if he's ordering pancakes and it's like a hot waitress, he'll drop in some of that romantic language and she'll just be like, I love it, dude. Absolutely love that shit.
Hello to Phantasmagorical. Hey, Fanta. How you doing? Thanks for
Fanta.
coming
Yeah.
in the chat there. Yeah, right on.
What's up? So
What's
I have
up?
a treat for you guys. Oh, what happened? Oh, shit. Did I do that? I think I did that.
What?
I switched screens on accident. I have a treat for you guys as soon as I can get you guys back up. I wanted to flex a little bit and show you guys how much of a graybeard I am, I guess, in a way. And I'm trying to get you back up. For some reason, my computer decided to close the tab on YouTube. Not sure why. I was typing something in the chat, and it was like, "Nah, go fuck yourself." So I'm in my 40s now. I don't know how big you guys are or how old you guys are, but I'm in my 40s now. So
I'm almost 60.
Oh Jesus. Okay, well, good. I don't feel so old now. Hey, my dad's 64. He still works 3 miles 3 days a week. So
awesome, man.
Yeah, I don't think 60 means what it used to. Is what I'm saying.
No, it's not. 60 is like the new 40. There you go.
Yeah. I don't think like. I mean, what the average age for people back when my father was born was probably 70, and my dad's not going to die at 70, or he's probably not going to die at 90.
Right. My mom's 90. She's doing good.
She's doing pretty good. 90.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So you guys know what this is, right? You've seen this before?
Let me expand your screen here. And that is Supreme. Yep. I own that copy. Yep, definitely.
All right. Okay.
a
copy of that. Do you own Zero?
I may have Zero. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Because there's 1 and there's 0. Not a lot of people got the 0. I have the 0. I didn't want to touch it, but I've got 0 as well.
They haven't printed very many zeros, have they?
I think it was 1,000. I think.
That is low.
Yeah, it's either 1,000 or 10,000. I forget which one it was, but there wasn't a lot of them, and some of them were even signed. For those that don't know Supreme, this is a theory of mine. It's a hot topic right now, but if you guys have seen Invincible, the TV series, first of all, it's garbage. Read the comic.
Yes.
But I think they base Vultramites off of Supreme. That's just my opinion. I mean,
Vultramites?
Yeah, in Invincible, the supermen, superwomen are called Vultramites. And they have a lot of characteristics of Supreme. So I don't know if that's where he got his inspiration from, but it definitely, let's just say it looks a lot like it. If you've read a lot of Supreme comics and then you go read Invincible, it's almost I don't want to say it's almost exactly the same, but they have they share a lot of the same characteristics in the characters. At least
do you have
way.
Your,
what's up?
Do you have your Supreme Zero, Andy?
Yeah, I've got it. I've got to go get it out of a room, but I could go get it.
Go and grab it, man. I want to see it if you don't mind.
Oh, you want to see Supreme Zero?
Right, yeah, Supreme. We all want to see it. Because I don't know if I have that. Only 1,000 copies, man. That is a low print run. Surely
1,000 or 10,000.
Okay, either one. Still, 10,000. That's not very high either. Well, it is for an indie comic, but Image, you know how they print multitudes, especially Rob Liefeld, Tom McFarlane's Spawn, Jim Lee Wildcats, Mike Silvestri's Cyberforce, Savage Dragon. You know, the list goes on, man. But 10,000 for, I don't know. I might have to look at a local comic shop and see if I can snag a copy. Oh, let me see that. That is Supreme Zero.
Now, check this out. Okay, this is really cool because I'm a collector. I collect. I don't have a lot of comics, but I collect a lot of different things and a lot of rare things. So the thickness of the comic that's Zero is about half the thickness of what one is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think when they made this might have been the what is it? Prequel to it, or kind of like a concept art to it. Because if you look at the two arts, look at the two. They're two completely different arts.
Two arts. Now, who drew the one on the Zero?
Let's see here.
I know Brian Murray. I love Brian Murray's work, by the way.
Brian Murray's a good one. Splat Luffield.
Oh, Stephen Platt.
Yeah, it's Splat and Luffield. I think Luffield was the ink and Splat was the artist, right? Is that correct?
Yes, I think Platt did pencils. Yeah, Stephen Platt.
So, but and like I said, you can see a huge difference in the graphics. Like this is more like Gen 13, and this is more like original. You see? Yeah, so it's like, exactly. It's like there's a huge difference in the way they drew them. But yeah, I've only seen this one very rarely. Like I very rarely ever see Zero anywhere. You know, I see a lot of one, but I very rarely ever see Zero.
Yeah, 1 through 4, and you know, I may have a few more. I'm not sure, but I gotta have like 15,000, 20,000 comics in my up there, man.
I might have. I lost whenever I went to the Marine Corps. I had about 1,000, and I left it to my buddy, and he unfortunately, sold them for money. I had the Saner Killers original series, the ones they only printed 500 of. I had it signed by Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon.
Oh,
and he sold them.
Oh my gosh, that's gotta be thousands of dollars. I'm thinking depends on.
I had the little plaque. The little plaque that came with them and everything, and I got home from we just got back from our float, and I was like, dude, I want to see my comics, man. I want to look at them, and he's like, I sold them.
I sold them. Heartbreaker, man.
And I was like, dude, you sold Santa Killers? And he's like, yes. And I'm like, it's got to be worth like. Of course, this is back in 2002, 2001. And I'm like, that's got to be worth like $500 right now. He's like, I got $20 for all 4 of them.
What? Oh, God. I know the other guy who bought it's in a bank right now, man.
He's watching this stream in like a month going, yeah, that was me, motherfucker.
That's me. Yeah, right? Holy mackerel. It kills me.
He's actually is the one that introduced me. He was he was one of my best friends. He introduced me to this one. And there's the chance you guys have never heard of it.
Let me look at that. Poison Elves. Yes, I have. Yep.
And that's number 1.
Number one. I think I have a copy or two of Poison Elves. Yeah, I
Yeah.
do have one.
And also for people watching, this is like before fantasy was like really a big thing. Okay, you got to think 1993, 1994, people weren't thinking Dungeons and Dragons and comics. Grim stories hadn't even come out yet. Grim fairy tales hadn't come out yet. So a lot of people didn't even know anything about fantasy and comics. I think they came out the same time Pitt did. If you need a time reference, that's about the same time frame. So
it came out late 92, early 93. I'm not
yeah,
sure
somewhere around there. Yeah, and it had a very, very small following. Not a lot of people know about Poison Elves. So it's but I think I've got like 40 of their comics or something like that. So I don't even know if they're worth anything, but I'm never gonna get rid of them.
Dude, I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can find a number one, but I go to a place called Second and Charles. They're all over the United States. It's a subsidiary of Books A Million. You've heard of Books A Million, right?
I've heard of Books A Million, but I haven't heard of the other.
Second and Charles. Yeah, it's like a half-price bookstore, and comics you can get for like dirt cheap.
Oh,
that's where I go to occasionally. Yeah.
All
so
right.
Located at Second and Charles. I wish Second and Charles would actually give me some ad dollars, but yeah. Whatever.
we know the sponsors, right? I was
sponsors. That'd be nice.
I was talking to a buddy of mine in California. He's probably gonna watch this video, but he is a former partial. There could be multiple CEOs of gaming companies. He's trying to educate me. I'm learning. So, but he's basically a game designer. That's what he is. He writes games, makes games, all this stuff, right? And I was like, dude, get me sponsors. Get me sponsors. I was like, come on, man, people, get me sponsors. And he's like, all right, I'll try, and everything. But he's a cool cat. Here's something fun. I guarantee there's people on here that know comics and might have heard of the storyline. But in my opinion, because I'm such a Logan fan, this is the biggest story arc in all of Marvel ever in the history of Marvel, in my opinion. Okay. And those that know this comic know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you got the Fatal Attraction mystery. Is it? Mind taking it out of the bag? We can't really see it.
You're gonna make me take it out of the bag?
What's glaring out with the plastic? So we can barely see it.
I got you.
Oh, that's better.
Oh, wow.
Yes, the Fatal Attractions mystery life balance. It begins. Life mystery balance. Yeah. Oh, mystery of life hangs in the balance. There it is.
Yep.
With the little with your card, with that
the hologram. Yep.
Hologram card, man. Yeah, I think I may have a copy of that.
Wolverine issue 75. That one broke my
75,
heart.
Man. Oh man.
Wolverine broke my heart, because like it's and that's also another reason why because everyone always asks me as big of a comic fan how much I love the movies, and I'm like, no.
The comics are better than the
movies. Okay. Yes. I'm not going to argue with that point, Apex or Mark. I'm not going to argue that. But, dude, could you have done at least a little bit of a better job? I mean, could we get some of the character correct other than his name? I mean, if you remember the original X-Men movie, they couldn't even get the adamantium skeleton correct.
No,
they couldn't even get it right. One of the most basic quintessential parts of Wolverine, they couldn't even get it right.
They need some comic experts to be there to get right. Some people there say, "Oh, nope, that's wrong. Here's what it looks like."
You're right.
Artists.
Dredd just said it. Yeah, they're better.
Yeah, you got it, man. Absolutely.
Okay. Like here's something. Mark. Apex, what was because you're from a different generation than me, Apex. I think me and Mark are closer to age. So what were your staples when you were coming up? What got you into comics? Like what was your first comic you ever read?
Oh geez, man. Well, I started out with newspaper comic strips. That's the basis before I went into comic books. But yeah, Dick Tracy was cool. Just reading that was still going on. And when I was very young. Andy Cap, but comic books, shoot, man. I remember way back when a fondest memory was getting a Swamp Thing from DC and a Barry Windsor Smith Conan #6.
Dude, Conan.
Yeah, man.
I
Conan
miss
#6.
Conan so much.
I know. There was Roy Thomas wrote it. Barry Windsor Smith drew it, and it was fantastic.
Who
Man.
was
It's
the famous artist that has all the really cool pictures, where it's basically Conan's world? Who is that? You know what I'm talking about, right? He has all the famous paintings. They're pasted everywhere.
Oh, it's Frank Frazetta.
Frank Frazetta. Yeah. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
He and I've said this. I think I said this on another podcast. I don't think there's ever been a time where we need Conan on the big screen more than ever than now.
Yeah.
Like, if there's, because I mean, we're done with Marvel and DC. They don't know yet. Hollywood doesn't know it yet. The fans know it, but Hollywood hasn't figured it out yet. We're done with superheroes. Superheroes are done. Okay. So if there's one time I think that we really could say in the last 50 years that Conan needs to have a comeback other than Arnold Schwarzenegger's version, it's now.
Right.
We need that. We need Red Sonja. We need freaking Conan and all of his characters. The double-bladed battle axe needs to split some grapes. It needs to be bloody. We need to have brains being picked off of the axe after he's done.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think outside Hollywood, it has to be outside Hollywood. I think in Lionsgate has been making some really badass movies. They've never went woke. Lionsgate would be the best.
Yeah, you're right. You know what? You're right. Lionsgate. They made some crappy movies, but they never went woke.
Never went woke.
Yeah, they never went woke. Mark, what about you, man? What was your comics? What brought you into our world?
It was definitely X-Men.
X-Men was one of mine too, but yeah.
Yeah, and as I was saying earlier, I'm reading them right now in chronological order. I didn't have much money for them growing up, and it's weird because I never really wrote any superhero stuff. I'm actually working on the first superhero thing, because it's just superheroes. If I needed superheroes, I just go to X-Men, And so when I'm working on my own stuff, it's more like Gang of Misfits, weird, occult, stuff. But yeah, those are the ones that just something about, the character development, and then something about with Magneto being such a good villain, where you ask most people, right? I think Magneto would pull at 80% above Xavier or higher. People are like, who do you like better, Magneto or Xavier? And
the actual real juggernaut, the real juggernaut.
And I think that's
Xavier's
cousin. Yeah. So I think that's what was most compelling. Is to have a freaking good villain.
Remember the Phoenix arc? You remember that?
Oh yeah, man.
You remember when people were reading it and they were I remember my comic book shop was in a little small town, and all of the comic guys would be waiting outside for the next X-Men. And
yeah.
I can't be speaking for other people, obviously, but I never took Avengers seriously. Ever.
No, it was never really. It started out. It did get off the ground to a point. It was never as popular as X-Men. X-Men was the hugest thing ever. It was. It made Avengers like, hey, we're still here.
Yeah,
X-Men was overwhelming. Yeah,
and maybe this is the Marine in me. This is the infantryman. Maybe okay, but Avengers were white bread. Okay, They were so, I don't want to call them perfect, okay, but let's call it for what it is. They were very gentle. No one ever died. We never had to worry about Captain America losing his rage meter. Now, I did like the Hulk. I want to make an addendum to this. I did like Spider-Man and I did like Hulk, but I never considered them to be a part of the Avengers. Okay, yes, there were comics that had him in there, but Spider-Man was his own entity to me. I never considered him to be an Avenger. And I hated the fact that when they put them all together, now people think of Spider-Man as being an Avenger. They even made a cartoon recently where they recruit him to the Avengers as like a 16-year-old. It's like, no. Okay, but we can go off on a tangent on that crap all day, but X-Men were darker, grittier.
Yeah, they were.
There was Psylocke wore a freaking thong as her costume.
I know, right?
Okay,
Where's the protection?
Yeah, there was just a different kind of element. I mean, remember the Hellfire Club? Tell me one group of bad guys right now that even compares to the Hellfire
Club. Really, I can't think of any.
I mean, and I'm not trying to downplay the importance of the Avengers. The Avengers had their place, okay? It's just, you know, it's like when you look at the Preacher comic or you look at The Boys, okay? They make other comics just look completely mundane. I mean, look at what Preacher did when Preacher came out. Preacher changed the whole landscape of comics. Things that people used to lock up, the porn comics that used to be in the back that no one could touch. Okay.
Right.
Preacher was like, oh, hey, yeah, these exist over here, by the way. Just wink, wink. All right. You know, because, hey, I remember the first time I read Preacher, it made me very uncomfortable. I was a young man. I was like, oh, can I read that? Is this okay? I was like 15 reading Preacher. Okay. So like it was different for people to read it. And I don't know if you guys remember this. They started locking Preacher up. They started putting it in bags to where you couldn't open them. You remember that?
I didn't know that. No,
yeah,
that's the best thing though that can happen to your comic.
Yes,
I've told that to our folks, any creators. They say like, well, what's the rules? Like, what can I print away? You print whatever the fuck you want. Right. You know, one, this is America. You know, and like, but yeah, the best thing that could happen is someone say, we're not allowed to sell your comic book here. And I'd be like, right on. You know, thank you for that ringing endorsement. Because I'm even gonna post that, right? Not even like as I'm mad at this like shop or mad at whoever, or like this convention told us to put our books away or something like that because they were offensive. It'd be like, you know, just like, hey, this is what happened, you know, and you know, if you want to see what it is, because people they need to know what's behind that you know, what's behind the shelf that they're not being shown, you know.
Well, real quick, I don't want to jump too far off topic. Not that we even have one, but I'm guessing that you guys have seen or at least watched reviews on She-Hulk.
I haven't watched it.
Oh, jeez, I have not watched it. I've seen a lot of YouTubers. Yeah, they're not really fans of. But no, I gave up on Disney Plus. A few years back.
It's
have you
hard.
Seen it?
It's hard, man. I watched. I always tell myself, because I do want to do reviews of shows, but it's so hard for me to watch Star Wars and Marvel and DC now. I mean, it really hurts. I mean, it hurts. Mm-hmm. I'm such a fan of it, and I know all of the history of it so much that it hurts to watch it. But I watched the first 2 episodes. Yeah. And the average episode length was 23 minutes, I think. Okay. And I had to stop like 6 times in the first episode. I had to stop it. I had to actually stop the goddamn thing, because
that's bad.
I mean, and you know, it was very childish, and they were trying to do the whole fourth wall breaking thing with her, and you know, it didn't help the fact that they chose quite possibly the ugliest chick they could find to play her. And then
she's okay.
Dude, she's not supposed to be okay. She's supposed to be like
beautiful, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
And then of course they choose to go the route of the woke PC. We don't have to go crazy political on or anything, but in the very first like 7 minutes of the first show, they tell all of the people in the audience, specifically the men, exactly what to expect from this show.
Oh God.
Exactly. Okay. And you know, she has the typical, she's the boss bitch. All right. She can do everything, say everything, learn everything 10 times better than the Hulk. Okay. No matter what. She's stronger than the Hulk, smarter than the Hulk, faster than the Hulk.
She's not stronger than the Hulk.
I'm getting there. Okay. And you know, and they couldn't even, this is how petty these women are. Oh, by the way, all female producers, all female directors, and all female writers. Okay. Right. So And next season they're saying that they are going to have all female everything for Rings of Power. By the way, they didn't have enough apparently this season, so next season they're going to have all female.
More.
So, but I digress. But one of the issues that we're having though, and think about this. Do you guys remember what came out at the same time comics were getting really big? I'm going to show it to you, but do you remember the thing that kind of helped sell the comics back in the 90s? Because the 90s is arguably the largest explosion of comics. Okay. We can argue and say it was a different time back in the 60s, but the 90s were the probably the largest explosion of comics onto the scene. Okay. Do you remember what tagged along with them by chance?
No.
I remember the trading cards being a big thing.
Yeah. Trading cards. There you go. Yeah.
Oh, what
trading cards. Yeah. I have several. Yeah.
So ladies and gentlemen, you see these right here? This is how we know the powers and the ratings and the learnings of all of the characters, because on the back of each card, it tells us what they are. It tells us what they can do. It tells us their special abilities, and it tells us tiny little tidbits about them. Okay. These were trading amongst us as kids. All right. That's how we know. Okay. And this is first edition, by the way. There was no power graph. Second edition had a power graph on it that showed you the power level of each of the characters. All right.
Oh yeah.
And it actually showed you the different like strength, speed, intelligence, psionic powers. There was a whole listing of everything. Okay. And a lot of the people watching the Avengers, okay, and thinking that Thor could ever even compare to the Hulk. Okay, that's another conversation, obviously. But they don't understand power leveling. To them, it's just a character. Thor is a god, so therefore Thor should be more powerful than Hulk. Okay, that's kind of the way people see things. Okay, they don't understand that there's different levels of strength. Okay, like Abomination, perfect example. She-Hulk could fight Abomination, and she could give him a pretty good fight. Okay. I do believe there was even a couple scenarios where she actually got the better of Abomination, but there would.
You're watching a woke show, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm talking about in the comic.
In the comics, yeah. Oh, yeah. Abomination would throw it around.
Yeah, would destroy her. Yeah, but there were certain scenarios where in the comics She-Hulk could hold her own against stronger opponents, but that was because she was smarter.
Right.
She was incredibly intelligent. Okay. That's why Spider-Man was so deadly. He wasn't deadly because he was the strongest superhero. He was incredibly effective because of his spider sense, his abilities, and his agility, and he was smarter than almost everyone on the table. That's why he was so effective. He could figure out ways to beat people. But that's the issues that we're having in the shows, and that's the issues that we're having in the movies. Whenever they came out originally with X-Men and Avengers and Captain America, there's no such thing as a power level at all. Okay, it doesn't exist, and I think that's one of the main reasons, because you walk up to a 5-year-old right now or a 6-year-old that's a fan of Avengers. He's having Captain America fight Thor or Thanos, the ridiculous version of Thanos that they gave us in the movies, fight, whatever. Like that scene where Thanos is fighting Hulk, right, in the ship.
I hated that scene. I did, man. I was like, what the hell? No, that fight, Hulk should have trounced his ass, man. Big time.
And the way they did the Infinity Stones, I've said this before. I wanted to be a fly on the wall in those meetings. When they're like, all right, guys, so here's the story. Now, fuck that. Okay. We're going to do this because this is better. I mean, like the Infinity, did you guys ever read the 600 pages of Infinity? Did you ever read it?
Oh yeah. All right. When it came out, Infinity Gauntlet. Yeah. Infinity War. Yeah.
Yeah. Mark, did you read it too?
No.
You never read it? Dude, you got to read it. It's probably one of the best reads in all of comics. It is. It's seriously, you can actually go get it on like a comic platform if you want to. Because I don't have the comics anymore, obviously, but I had to go download it on like a comic platform, and I read it, and it's amazing. The writing's amazing, the storyline's amazing. So at the very end, just to give you an idea, oh yeah, Joseph is right, Dred's right about the Loki TV show. to give you an idea, at the end, Mark, when he's about to lose, he doesn't know that he's about to lose. He puts himself at 1% power. Keep that in mind. 1% power. He's fighting all of Marvel on one side, and then he's fighting all of the deities, all 7 of them, on the other side at 1% power.
Jeez.
Okay. And Silver Surfer, which wasn't ever even mentioned in the movies, he is plotting a way to take the glove off of him, because the Infinity Gauntlet did exist, obviously. But he's doing something with it was Warlock, right? Apex? I think it was Warlock he was working with. So Warlock gave him the idea of what to do and how to get the gauntlet off of him. And I think their success rate was like 0.0001 or something. It was ridiculous. But there was like this incredibly small percentage, because Warlock told Silver Surfer that not only was this the only way they could win, but it's also incredibly small percentage chance they were going to win. It was something like that. And he did have an obsession with killing people, but it wasn't this 50% thing. I don't know where they came up with the 50% thing. Maybe it has something to do with inclusivity. I'm not sure. But he was obsessed with Lady Death.
Yeah, he was.
I knew that part,
everything about Lady Death was what drove Thanos. Okay.
It did.
Okay. He wanted her to love him so much that he destroyed the entire fucking galaxy for her.
They should have went with that storyline. They should have went with that.
Yeah, yeah. Now, we find out 20 years later, before Wolverine supposedly dies, that Lady Death has been in love with Logan the entire time. But that's another story. All right? That's another story.
Lord.
All right. But no, so she's like sitting there on this throne, Mark. It's great. She's sitting there on this throne, dude, and she's not saying a word because she refuses to talk to Thanos. She won't say a word to him. Okay? Because he has her under his control, because he has the Infinity Gauntlet. That's something else they didn't really even like mention in the movies. He didn't just have unlimited power. He controlled the universe. Like his will was the universe. Okay, so if he wanted something to happen, it happened. When you put all the Infinity Stones together, Thanos, you just might as well go and look at Thanos as the universe. Because he was. He was like this, I guess, a consciousness, if you want to call it that. That was never in the movies. Now, which storyline is better? The one from the comic books or the one from the movie?
Oh, the comics, of course.
Okay, so then the question is why? Why?
I had a better story element because it's more deep. Death was more deep in the subject matter. Plus, you have a entity representing death.
Well, I also think and not to make an excuse for because I think obviously there's been missteps. I generally with like the MCU, I've been like largely way happier with it than I have with what DC has done. So like I gotta like take like the good and the bad, I feel, but what you can do in a run of comics, because you have multiple story arcs where you can start breaking those things apart, like as I was saying, as I go through that X-Men in chronological order, you have parts where X-Men's in Avengers or they're in Spider-Man, or right. So you get these little, things. So trying to cram all of that into a TV show would be insanely difficult, let alone like a movie that I got to do, and so I can empathize with like Zack Snyder's like 5-hour freaking thing that we had to watch, but
God,
that should have been, like
it did make it better though.
It should have never been,
really?
But it should have never been a movie, right?
No, it should.
That should have been
like a TV show.
HBO, right? Hey, I'm going to make this thing that's a bajillion hours, because if you want to make a bajillion hours of cinema, that's possible,
Okay.
Okay. A 12 episode show would do it.
But I think if you go back, right, Robert Downey Jr., when he first signed to be like, I'm going to do Iron Man, there's no way that they knew that this thing was going to pop off, the way that it did, so now they're shoehorned into this universe, right? This Marvel Cinematic Universe. And once again, I'm not making excuses. I'm saying is that they're now stuck in an art form and with some parameters that are not going to allow them, because I was actually talking to an artist the other day about Wolverine. There's also things that are never going to translate to the screen the way you can do on a comic. you could never put Wolverine in yellow spandex, right, with the stripes and stuff like that. And can you imagine that in the movie? He would be the dumbest looking dude in the world. You'd be like, that looks stupid. You
That's
can
why
do it in a comic, but you cannot do it in a movie.
I do a
And
black leather costumes. Yeah.
Yeah. So some of those things, I don't know. I transport myself to the person who's like working wardrobe, and they're like, I hit it just like the comic, and the person shows up and they're like, no, we're
yellow
not putting that on the
spandex.
screen.
That's fine.
They did Daredevil in the yellow in the Hulk show.
I did see the part where She-Hulk and Daredevil were sparring on the rooftop there.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like his costume was more yellow in that scene than it was in the latter scenes.
Yeah, it did to me too. You're right, but
it didn't look good.
I'm not the biggest Daredevil fan, but his yellow costume was 90% yellow, 10% red, right? Is that right? Or am I thinking of Yellow Flash?
It was Yellow Flash. Yeah, actually, he had a red tunic. But the arms were yellow. The gloves are red. The boots are red. The trunks are red. So I was about 50-50.
50-50. Okay. Because it wasn't, what I'm saying is it wasn't like that in the show though, right? Like in the show, it was, I think he had like a little patch here, but it looked okay. I mean, but I like Daredevil. So, I mean, like just seeing Daredevil on the screen would just, like the whole,
cool.
The 4 seasons or 6 seasons of that horrible Daredevil through Luke Cage run, other than the first season of Daredevil, was just atrocious. But I did like the costumes of Daredevil in that series. That was really good. I liked it. But
I liked the first 2 seasons of Daredevil. Had the Punisher in it. That was cool.
I thought the Punisher's character was good. I don't like who they chose to play him. Punisher is like 6'5", and Frank Castle's a monster. I mean, he's a definition of a human monster. I do like the personality of Punisher in the show, but I mean, come on, dude. I mean, Punisher's not 5'8" or 5'9" or whatever that guy is. It's like it's like
barely 6 foot, so he's probably under 6 foot. Yeah,
exactly. So I love Punisher. Punisher is one of my all-time favorite Marvel characters. So it's hard for me. I liked. My favorite Punisher was the guy that played Dagonet in King Arthur. I forget. I think it's called like Punisher. It's got some Vengeance or Punisher, something like that, where he makes his own knife and he stabs that knife under the rich chick's head. Remember that?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, dude. That's my favorite Punisher because Dagonet is huge. Dagonet's like 6'3". He played Blackbeard in Pirates of the Caribbean. Remember that? Or was it no, not Pirates of the Caribbean. It was a show on HBO. I can't remember it now, but it's one about the pirates where they keel haul him. They actually keel haul Blackbeard, and he played Blackbeard in the show. But go look up King Arthur. He's in there. He plays a couple bad guys, but he's a great actor. But in the Punisher, man, that's my favorite Punisher. And I'll take Dolph Lundgren's Punisher.
Oh, you're talking about Ray Stevenson.
Ray Stevenson, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah, Dagonet is one of the greatest characters in any movie I've ever seen. If you haven't seen King Arthur with him in it, go check it out. It's really good. I even had a ring before someone stole it. I had a ring made that was just like his ring, and I called it the Dagonet. So
that's crazy.
But Mark, I want to steel man your argument, and I want to counter it. Okay, so let's say you're correct. Let's say that it's incredibly difficult to translate the comic in a lot of aspects onto a show. Okay, which I agree with you. Okay, why would you on purposely change the characters, change what the characters are, race swap, gender swap characters to an audience that's been waiting for the shows to come out for 60 years?
Yeah, I mean,
those
are all the so. I'm not an executive.
That is a good question
for Disney. Yeah.
What's the point of swapping?
What's the point? If your fan base has been waiting for, dude, Batman came out in 1939, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Okay, so if you've been waiting, because last time I checked, there hasn't been a successful Batman TV series since Adam West, right? Am I wrong in
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Other than the animated series, I'm not talking about animated, live
Right,
action.
right.
Okay,
Live
all right?
action, right.
Batman animated series, one of the greatest of all time. Never gonna argue that. Okay,
That's
all right?
different level. Yeah.
Okay, that's a totally different level right there.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right, but live action Batman television series since Adam West has not existed. So
No.
their answer to us as the fans is to bring in a lesbian and have her say that the suit's going to look better on a woman than it does Bruce Wayne. That's their answer. Okay.
That's
Now
how they.
I'm not even asking for the complexities that is Bruce Wayne. I'm not asking for that. Okay.
Right.
But I would love to tune in every Sunday night
Mhm.
and watch a Batman hour-long show. That
Oh, yeah.
dude, they would make so much money. Like
They
they
would.
could fuck it up. They could make it so bad, and people would still watch it. Look at the last Batman movie that came out. I call him Emo Batman. Look how much money that did. Okay, and
Oh,
that was
man.
a horrible movie. And
Except the
it's still-
stuntman was awesome as Batman. The
Yeah!
stuntman. Oh,
yeah,
he
because he
was
got his ass
great.
kicked the whole movie. So, but I mean, like, I don't understand Mark and Apex. I don't get why they're doing it. Like, unless it is specifically designed to be for the agenda that they're trying to go after, you know, the patriarchy, okay, and you know, the intersectional feminism crap that they like to bring up in every single show that we watch. I watched 3 horror movies yesterday. 3, okay, and
Which one were those?
okay, it was X. Okay, that's the new one that came out. Okay, it was VHS 94 and the other VHS that came out in 2012 or 2016, and oh, excuse me, I watched 4. Excuse me, there was called the Mortuary Chronicles or something. Okay, here's the plot line for every single movie. Okay, and I'm not even going to give you the characters for the movie. Here's the basic plot line. Okay, intersectional feminism. Men suck. Make fun of men. Men need to be physically and emotionally punished and made fun of. And then at the end, the boss bitch has to win in some way, shape, or fashion. It's not even about what do they call the women that always won against Freddy and Jason? That they have a name for them. Final girls. It's not even about final girls anymore. Okay, but that's the plot line for every single movie. I watched 4 horror movies yesterday. 4.
Yeah.
And every single one of them, that was basically it in every single storyline. You could add that, just insert that into all the characters, and it's there. So why? I don't want to watch that. I don't think men want to watch that. Okay,
So
and I don't think a lot of women want to watch it.
Yeah. No.
I mean,
That's why I think I'm glad we have David Zaslav and Warner and Discovery Warner that's cleaning house, and I hope they can correct that problem.
Well, what do you think?
Hail to Zaslav.
I mean, seriously,
Yeah,
what do you think's gonna happen? Mark and Apex, what do you think is going to happen? I mean, like the future of
Well,
let's
eventually
sci-fi and Marvel and DC, pop culture.
Eventually, the SG money's going to run out. The fans they're going to actually vote with their dollars, pay for their dollars, whatever entertainment they want. The fans are going to win in the end, and these companies are going to go broke because they figured out, oh, Disney's been woke for quite a while. It's not working for them. They're losing money left and right. Something's got to happen.
Did you watch the Superman Batman Battle of the Super Sons? Did you watch that?
Battle of the Super Sons?
It just came out.
No, I've not.
Both of you, when this is over, go to your Xbox or your PlayStation, go to the movies, buy it.
Is it good?
I did a review on it. I don't want to ruin. I'm not going to ruin anything for you. Okay, nothing. Okay.
Good.
I'll put it this way. In the first 7 minutes of it, because the 7-minute mark is the rule, right? When you get 7 minutes into a movie, it either has you or it doesn't have you. It's that simple. Mm-hmm. Okay. I stopped it. I went and popped a bag of popcorn. I got a soda. I sat down on the couch and I literally felt like I was 12 years old again for the next hour and 15 minutes.
That's the way a movie should do. It should affect people like that.
I escaped this shitty reality for the next hour and 15 minutes.
Wow.
it was good. It was and I said this in my review of it too. You are correct, Apex. Someone is listening. Someone is, because we're seeing it here and there. And I watched Barbarian too, by the way. I guess I watched 5 movies yesterday. Sorry.
Good.
Barbarian was weird.
Okay.
It was like the I believe his name is Krieger, the director. He was the director and screenwriter. I couldn't tell if he was trying to talk to us or if he was doing it by accident. Okay, but it really did feel like he was saying, guys, we hear it. We hear it. But I got to do it this way. Here's some subtext, okay? And I want you to watch it. Tell me what you think later, and then let me know. It almost felt like he was talking to us in the movie. It really did.
Hell, Shadowhawk Talks. Hell, thanks for coming in, buddy. All right.
Dude, Shadowhawk. Fuck
yeah. I want to go ahead and promote Lesser Known Comics campaign. While we could do that still, go ahead and share, if I may. Yeah. Some support for his comics. Let's go ahead and see what he has.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, Mark, I'm gonna go check out your stuff, man. I've seen you on a few times, man, but like I said, this is our first time meeting, so I definitely want to look at it.
All right,
that's the old one.
That's the old. Okay.
Yeah, it should be in your Twitter. I don't know if you have access to your Twitter, the most recent link, or if you.
Oh, okay.
If you type in the search either them or us, it should come right up.
It's so cool, dude.
We go ahead and.
I'm talking to a guy who actually writes a comic book. That's amazing.
Isn't that cool?
That's great. Yeah. That is so cool.
Okay, you got a link. Oh, where was it? Okay. It's the one with the picture, the Kickstarter. Oh, here it is. Here it is. There's the one. That's the updated one, right? Oh, okay. Let me go ahead and go back. Excuse me.
No worries.
I'm glad you've pointed that out. I want to get the right one on here. It's either them or us. Yeah.
Either them or us. Samurai versus witches in 1980s Japan. So
holy crap!
Is that what your comic's about?
Yeah.
Dude!
So
one of them.
So and we have a very precise system at Lesser Known Comics. I was working on a different story with the illustrator. So this is from another one, and he was like, "Hey, who are these characters?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, they're witches. They're from Japan. They make a brief appearance in another comic book we were making." And he was like, "Are there samurais back there?" And I was like, "Yeah, there's samurai." And he's like, started asking me like the history, and I hadn't had that scripted out, but I had all the canon like written down. And he's like, "I want to make that book next. Can we make that book next?" And I was like, "Sure."
Right.
Like when your illustrator is like super, super excited, then you're like, "Fuck it, that's the book we're gonna make." So.
Yeah.
I am obsessed with samurai, bro. Because Marines are. I'm telling you what you already know. I'm talking to 2 vets. We're warriors. We don't call ourselves soldiers. Okay.
Right.
I finally learned to stop correcting people on that because they don't understand. But you should have heard me. I actually told a preacher once during a sermon. He was like, "I don't want to pay tribute to our soldiers in the audience," and I was like, "We're warriors." Like in the middle of the sermon.
We're warriors.
I was like 21 years old, and I was such a dick. But
who's your artist on this one?
Dude, that's amazing! Oh my god,
I love this work.
Reese
let me tell you. Okay.
Yeah, so Reese, so Franco Luna does all the interiors and the main thing, but our variant there was done by a guy named Reese Jenkins, and he was one of those dudes. He's always like in my DMs and like commenting and all that stuff. And I knew he was an awesome artist, and I, a lot of people probably experience this where like the comic you're working on today is something you were planning 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And so he was like, "When are we going to make a comic? When are we going to make a comic?" And I was like, "Hey, we're going to get to it. Promise. Like, I really want to." So then one day he was just like,
"It looks good, man. Looks freaking great."
Can I buy that right now?
So how much are each of these? How much are they per copy on the Kickstarter?
So the digitals, so as low as $5 for the digital versions, and then we do 10 for the standard. There is only 25 copies made available for the Kickstarter for that Reese Jenkins variant.
How many
So
pages are there in that
it's
book?
it's 22. It's the full length with we
Okay,
have it's going to end up being a 4 or 6 issue story arc.
that's pretty good.
We decide depending on how much we want to jump around time, because we show like the flashback into the 1860s and where this this rivalry between the samurai and witches start, and then brings you up to the 1980s, and kind of looking at that modernization of Japan, and samurai kind of come back. They got some modern technology, some modern weapons, and they're taking the fight back to
I see that.
these
Yeah.
witches. Yeah.
How do I give you money, Mark?
You can pledge the campaign there on the Kickstarter.
I'm over here. I remember, guys. I'm new to all this crap. Okay, so this is all.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I'm on the Kickstarter right now. Is there a place I can click on and just give you money?
Yeah. Have you actually updated your Kickstarter there, Mark? For them to, I'm sure you have, but
it says learn about accountability, add-ons. I'm trying to find a spot that says here or whatever.
It says back this project. Yeah, back this project. You see that square box says back this project.
I see something that says backers. Where is the square that says back this project?
Okay, look at my screen here.
Okay.
Okay. Do you see the green panel right here? It says back this project.
Okay.
Yeah, click that one.
I don't have that. I'm on the website. Okay, so where is that? Where's the one that? Yeah, where's that?
Oh, you're on what? LesserKnownComics.com?
Kickstarter. Here we go. Here, I found it. Okay. I clicked on it. Nope, that's still the Kickstarter. Okay.
Okay. So Mark, where could he? How could he? Back this book?
I want to hit that back this project button, dude. I want to read that story, dude. I want to read that shit.
That looks really good.
So yeah, I mean, if you go to LesserKnownComics.com, it should the landing page should like link you right to the Kickstarter. If you click back this project, it should give you the options between either the digital, a standard version. We have the variant cover, and then Reese Jenkins, because he's up in New York, I'm in DC. He actually agreed to do custom sketch covers as well.
That's cool.
This is awesome.
Any excuse to go like hang out with him. So I was just like, yeah, we'll just do those, and I'll just drive the books up to you. And
I'm sure.
Do you guys ever like do events or anything? I don't know where you guys are located, but do you guys ever do events or ever show your work?
So there's about 20 of us that are doing stuff in some form with Lesser Known Comics, and actually this weekend at Baltimore Comic-Con, which I'm super stoked about, because there's just so many good indie creators that are going to be there. But yeah, we're going to be doing more conventions in 2023. Our printer, Comics Wellspring, has actually started something called the Comics Unity Project, where they're working with a handful of indie publishers to really try and get indie comics like more prominent within the conventions. Because you go to conventions, right, and it's Funko Pops and celebrities and this and that, right, and it's like, and nothing against those things, but like it is a Comic-Con, right? So like so they've been doing corporate sponsorship, but really been insisting that like, hey, we are here to sponsor comic books, and support indie creators. So they actually sponsor the Artist Alley at Baltimore Comic-Con, and now they're going to be a sponsor for the Ringo Awards, which will be really cool. So that's like, I guess, the Indie Eisner.
Yeah, it's Mike Wieringo, who died really at a young age. I met Mike Wieringo, had a couple of signatures, thank goodness. I mean, he was real fun, really nice guy, great artist, and he worked for Marvel, I believe DC as well. Yeah, he drew the Flash back in like the late 90s. I mean, did the Fantastic Four as well. I mean, what an artist. And after he died, they established the Ringo Awards after Mike Wieringo. So there you have it.
Well,
yeah, Baltimore's one of the good ones. One of the really good. I think Emerald City Comic Con is really good too, like for actual
Yes.
creators.
I was at that very first one back in 2003. I had my booth there selling Apex Graphics stuff. Did a little sketch for people in their little books, and it was cool, man.
Here, let me do this. You guys can see the StreamYard, right?
StreamYard, yeah.
Okay, can you go over to the chat and StreamYard, I think, and you can see the private chat, right?
Okay, private chat. Let's see.
I'm
Wait a second.
gonna drop my email in there. And
all right.
I want, because I've clicked on all 4 of those links and they're not taking me to that screen. So drop whatever that is in there. I see the donations on the side, but it won't let me click on anything to donate any money. But I want those comics. I want every issue.
Yeah, is there a way, Mark, that you can actually get a link, send a link to?
And just shoot it to me. I mean, there's my email right there.
Vincent?
Yeah.
Let me see.
Or I forgot to put the damn thing in there.
Yeah, look under the private chat there, Mark. Let's see if we can. I should be able to.
They just had the Fort Worth Comic Con here, but you know, again, I'm not usually online to check stuff out. I'm usually too wrapped up inside of my own head, but I missed it. And here, I don't know if it works this way where you guys are, but if you don't buy tickets ahead of time, you can't. You can go buy scalp tickets at the door, but generally speaking, the tickets at the door are gonna be like 5 times the cost that they would be if you bought them before time. So, I've never been to a Comic Con. As big of a comic fan as I am, I've never been to one. And you would think, as much as as big a fan as I am of the whole, I guess genre, the whole, community, that I would actually go, but I've never been to one. I've always wanted to go, but then again, I'm always by myself, so I probably would go if I had a group of friends to go with.
Oh yeah, I get it.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep in touch, because we have a lot of creators in Texas, and it's just like a weird chance. Oh, I gotta show off that book. Where the hell is it?
Actually, I got a link here in the chat.
Yeah, I just saw it. There we go. Pledge. Okay, and it's asking me how much to pledge. Cool.
Yeah, any amount. Yeah.
Which should allow you to choose like an actual reward, like to get a.
This one's different though. It's got anything from $0 to $112.
Wow.
This one.
That's,
so I'm gonna keep that one open. Yeah. But no, because I've said, I think Apex was on with me when I said this last time. I don't think that and I say we, I'm not just talking about military, it's veterans, but I don't think we as a community as a whole are going to survive unless we're supporting each other. So
that's true.
I don't think it's capable, guys. I don't. And being someone that likes to talk over people all the time without even knowing it.
Really?
Yeah, no shit, right? I said this in a chat yesterday, and I don't mean to do it. And Mark, thank you for being so patient with me. I know that I've been annoying you at least a little bit. But I don't mean to.
You know how I feel about Marines. I got.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Deal with it, gun buddy. No, I don't mean to come off as an asshole or as a prick, and maybe it's because I'm so aggressive and so blunt, but I genuinely do care. And a lot of the times I don't think that comes across. And I think that's where my disconnect comes from. And if you've seen any of my videos, I don't really give a fuck. I don't.
Make him as you make him,
Yeah, like I care more about. I would rather a person hurt my feelings. I guess I'm the opposite. I would rather a person hurt my feelings with the truth and tell me that I'm totally fucking something up and I'm being a dick than you coddle me. Don't coddle me.
Right.
Yeah. And I got to tell you that here's the thing. Like, I think being in the military will teach you that, right? So I've been sitting down with somebody, right, and they say, hey, what do you think about such? I'll use my buddy Marshall for example. Hey, what do you think about Marshall? Blah blah blah. I'm like, Marshall, he's a dumbass. Blah blah blah. This, that, and the other thing, and because like the way you razz on your buddies, right? That guy doesn't know his ass from his elbow, and this, that, and the other thing. They say, oh, I'm going on a live fire range with him tomorrow, and you say, listen to everything Marshall tells you because he's going to keep you alive. And I don't think that people get that experience where you can have profound respect for somebody, but also disagree with them at the same time. We've lost that skill, as a country where, you can talk shit over beers, and,
yeah.
And maybe even fight a little, like I have good friends where I've punched them and they've punched me and we are okay. You are going to survive. We are
Yeah.
still cavemen and women living in modern times, and sometimes shouting and being blunt is part of the human experience, and that that's the part that I've lost, that I think that until you are in a situation where you have to trust somebody that you don't agree with your safety or the safety of people you care about,
Good point, Mark. Good point.
Yeah, let me get back to this campaign here, guys. So we have actually, this is a really cool one. Let's go back up. $20 or more, you get the Jenkins variant, which is awesome. Plus, you get a PDF of this. But let me go down to $52 or more, the lesser known universe. You can get Either Them or Us 1 plus Death Wish, the mini comic, and Lesser Known Comics 1 mini comic.
Yeah,
you can also get the Lesser Known Comics number 3, Lesser Known Comics 4 mini comic, the rest of them mini comic 6, 7, either Us or Them, the PDF. That's a pretty good deal. You get how many physical copies? You get 1, 2, 3. Oh, did you sell out Lesser Known Comics too?
Yeah, we that one's no longer in print run. We have we have the ability. So one of the things that we do for illustrators is if they partially own the IP, so at any point that they want to take their stuff out of Lesser Known Comics, that they are allowed to do that. And it's a good control. So Lesser Known Comics number 2, beautiful artwork. But that's an illustrator that didn't want to be part of the Lesser Known team anymore.
Do you have it on you? Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, so wow, it's a horse. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you might get like a bootleg from me.
Yeah.
Question for you, Mark. Okay, so I'm down here. I want all 6 issues. So does this mean I'm helping you make them, or does this mean that I get the opportunity to buy them when they're done? How does this work?
We send them to your house. So
okay. So what's the bonus support? Because I mean, like, is the bonus support like basically extra? Is that all that is?
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about any. Like, I would much rather give people books for the support that they provide, right? Obviously I don't shy away from it. Yeah. So
you're getting 7 books plus a digital for 52 or more.
Yeah,
that's actually a good deal, because these are like lower print runs, and you never know when they're going to be valuable or go up in price in the long run, and that you have them right there.
Yeah, and even in the higher ones, that the one that has our full catalog, we try and keep that down because it's really shipping that really crushes everybody.
You're right.
That's what kills the business, man.
Yeah.
Delivery fees and shipping.
Because we do have a graphic novel in there. This guy's from Texas. This is Tank McGregor.
Yeah, I like that.
So it's this guy's actually a screenwriter, but he's also an amazing illustrator.
Oh, that's cool.
And so, he didn't know, right? In movies, you write 1 page is 1 minute. So he wrote 15 pages, and then he started illustrating it. And next thing he knows, he's like, oh, I was like halfway on my way to a graphic novel. So now, so he ends up, and he hits me up and he's like, I have a graphic novel. I don't know what to do with it. And I was like, I'll publish it.
One of these sessions, you guys are going to have to tell me or teach me how to, because I'm not an artist, obviously, how to get my story on print, man. I would love to create a comic. I obviously have no idea how to do it. but I only have the story. I could write it or get someone to help me write it, I guess. But you guys have to teach me how to do that.
Yeah. Hey, there's a question Joseph Dredd. What is that issue with the horse on the comic cover?
That is Lesser Known Comics #2. So this
Yeah.
one's out of print now.
Oh wow.
But it's actually going to be we're going to relaunch the main character in here. But basically,
who's the character?
So her name's Losa. So our main character for our universe is this chick Danny. So she's essentially like our Wolverine. You know, she's lived like bunch of different she's lived a bunch of different lifetimes. But it all starts in the 1800s with her kind of being forced to work at a brothel saloon type of situation, and the person on the horseback here, she's kind of the human trafficker in charge that's taking all these stealing all these women and bringing them to a brothel that's run by a witch. So that story arc was always intended to get produced in its own, just like, so that was Lesser Known Comics #2. So we were just like Death Wish or Tank McGregor, it was going to be its own story. And we just settled on an artist by the name of David Lujan. Well, at least I hope he agreed, because I'm telling everybody now.
Yes, I hope so.
But yeah, so that one's particularly out of print, but we're gonna end up. But yeah, we got 7 other books or whatever in that within that universe there.
Oh man, that'd be probably the best tier to get.
Yeah.
I would be having a raging hard on just to get the collection, the entire collection, ladies and gentlemen. Amazing! It's 7 physical copies of the book and a digital PDF for $52. Or if you want to play at 60, what do you get? Oh, you get Chiasm Zero, Death Wish 1 mini comic. Either of them are us. #1, that's a full comic of 22 pages. Tank McGregor and a Mechanical Menace graphic novel. Which how many pages in the graphic novel there for Tank McGregor?
I think that one is, I want to say it's like 121 pages.
120 plus pages. Tights #1, Eureka 1. Those are full size books, right?
Those are all 22 page.
So $60.
That first one was all the stuff that happens within the same universe of either them or us, and then that LKC starter pack, because we print books that creator owned stuff that people bring to us. Yeah. We were like, okay, well, let's do all the issue 1s or issue 0s that we have on hand from all those creators. So if you just wanted to be like, hey, what does Lesser Known Comics have to offer?
Yeah,
and get the first issue of all their creator owned stuff. That's a good one to jump in on.
That's cool, man. Wow. Seems like as I go deeper, it gets more interesting. Okay, this is a $75 tier. Either them or us, custom sketch cover by
Reese Jenkins. He'll draw 1 of 1. So I do have some sketch covers. So we print them out. Here's one that we did for Tank McGregor. So it's like, it's all white, and then they can sketch over them.
Nice.
A couple of them back. I gotta see if I can find one of the cool ones that I've gotten back. Here's one that somebody whipped up for me at a con.
That's cool.
But yeah, those are fun, especially if you just want to have something that's completely original and has no one else in the world has it, and that's what we go for.
Yeah, like it. And I'm sorry, go ahead. Oh yeah. For like $112 or more, if you happen to have the money, it'll happen. You get Chiasm Zero, and how many of those you got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, that's just everything we have in the
9,
catalog.
10, 11, 12. All
right.
12 books, 13, 14 books, and a PDF.
Yeah, we used to have Yeah, we used to have more books in the catalog. The Digital Lizards of Doom got picked up by a bigger publisher. We were actually joking, me and him, because like having one of your creators get picked up by a bigger publisher, we said it's like when your hot ex gets married. Like,
Yeah.
you're really happy for them, but like, it's out of the question. You know?
It's like, yeah, that's my status now, baby.
All right, there you go.
Well, I did that one. I pledged the most, and I gave you guys a tip. I'm looking forward to it. I want to read every single one of those issues.
Thank you so much, Vincent.
Thanks, Vincent.
Dude, that is awesome, dude. Okay. I only like certain kinds of comics. Okay, I'm not a big comic hero guy.
Aces, hello.
You know, like I just don't. Hello, Aces. How you doing? But I mean, anything that has like, I'm a story guy. Like, one of my favorite games of all time is XCOM. Okay, and that has horrible graphics in it, but it's a great game and it's a great storyline. Okay, so if it's got a good storyline, I'm gonna love it. And just when you said witches and samurai, I was like, what? I was like, yeah.
Yes.
It took me 20 years just to find my own katana, the one that I liked. So,
wow.
I mean, like I love samurai. So I'm very curious to see your take on samurai, and I'll definitely will tell you how much of your history you got correct, Mark, for sure. All right. But yeah, man, like the moment you said samurai and witches, I was like, dude, I gotta do this. So,
yeah.
You're done, bro.
Oh, God, I'll load you up because we used to ship directly from the printer, but I have it all sent here now because, you know, I like doing just like the handwritten, you know, thank you note, making sure that I'm packing everything. And then if there's stuff around, you know, extra bookmarks and stickers and stuff like that, I'm like, you know, loading it up in the box.
It didn't have a place for my address, so I'm guessing I'm going to get a follow-up email to ask for my address.
Yeah, what ends up happening at the end of a campaign is then we send the survey out that says, okay, now that the project's funded, we're going to ask for all your personal details, and don't worry, we don't sell it to third parties.
Okay. I hope not.
Exactly.
I know what I do want to do, and I have to do an opt-in thing. I want to start doing a lesser known comics Christmas card like that we send out every year.
Oh yeah, man.
You know,
that's a good idea.
Because I'm sitting on all this great art, and somebody who did the creator of Yuriko, it's a vampire comic, and she ends up in Siberia. It actually starts in Korea, and she ends up in Siberia in the next issue. But he had this picture of her killing and eating a reindeer. And I was like, this has to be the company Christmas card. Like, how do we?
Wow.
You remember what were they called? The books that we used to look up our cards and comics. What was that called? Remember that?
Was the top minute?
Yeah,
Wizard.
Yeah, is that what it was called? Wizard.
That's Wizard magazine. Yeah.
Wizard would do a Christmas card in every Christmas issue. Remember that?
Yeah, they also have like little those little things you put on your little gifts, the little square thing, the tags. They used to print out the tags.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. I miss Wizard.
I miss Wizard too. Jesus.
Yeah, no.
I think I've got one lying around here somewhere, but I still have this somewhere.
I got a few.
In one of my collections, where I have just like random shit, I've got Santa Claus with a big old keg belly, right, with giant arms, like crawling out of the snow, like covered in blood, and that was like a Wizard card that came in one of the Wizard books during Christmas.
Yeah, so Wizard. Yeah.
When you were saying that, that's what made me think of it. Yeah, like
hot dog. Hey.
Yeah, man. Like I really, there was. I don't know if it was just a more magical time. Granted, we didn't get to talk about this because we got into promoting your book, but I agree with you, Mark, 100% on this, man. That we were just, maybe it's our generation specifically. There is that saying, weak times create strong men, strong times create weak men, or whatever. But we used to get in fights in school. I mean, that was a normal thing in school. Like, granted, I didn't want to get into a fight, but before I had left high school, I probably had been in at least 20 fights. Okay. Now, if somebody says something wrong to you, considered violence because they said something that offended you.
Oh, words actually hurt people.
It's like I had
Right?
my ribs broken in elementary school by two
Yeah.
kids. Like they broke my ribs. Okay, that hurts.
Yeah.
Okay, I wish they would have called me a couple of names instead of sending me to the emergency room. Okay,
Yeah,
that would have been
right?
a little bit better. Okay,
Great.
So, but you're right, man. I mean, we've kind of become this coddled culture where,
Well, and I worry about the part I think some of these stuff will self-correct. I think, but I do worry about the rhetoric because of everyone goes hyperbolic, right? Where such and such person is a Nazi or such and such person is a fascist. At some point, we will encounter people who are actual card-carrying Nazis and fascists and things like that, and like those things are dangerous. And like if you blow out people's eardrum, threatening, saying that somebody was the boogeyman, when the real boogeyman shows up, they're going to be like, well, you said the last person was the boogeyman, and same thing with threats, oh, this is the worst thing. This is such a threat to me. I'm, so hurt by this, whatever, something's going to come and it's actually going to hurt you one day,
Yeah.
and if you cried Chicken Little this whole time, and this is coming from someone, I'm like, yes, I serve my time. I'm also, like a, granola eating hippie at times, so I try and play it even keel, right?
Right.
Just
dread stickers and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. The old phrase.
Apex, how are we doing on time, Apex?
Well, we're going to wrap it up within the next 10 minutes. So, you have anything to?
I wanted to ask you both a question, seeing as how we're both kind of on the same page here. And yes, the phrase "sticks and stones" is lost. So is the golden rule, Apex. They have forgotten.
Yes, it is.
They
have forgotten.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I've even brought that up to people in public because I'm going to be doing live shows, which I hope you guys do join. And guys, I'm going to try to do my first live show on Friday too. By the way, I was going to mention that at the end anyways, but so I have a question to you guys, and this is something that I have thought about. I'm specifically interested in how you see it, Apex, because you're 20 years older than me and Mark. And I've asked this to young men, and I've been very surprised with the way young men respond to this, and it's kind of disturbing to me. And I want to know how it makes you guys think in your heads where this is going. So whenever I get told about how the way I think or the way that I see the world is ancient or it's wrong or I'm a racist or a sexist or a homophobe or whatever other buzzword they decide to use for that current day. I ask them this question and I say, okay, let me ask you something. What have you done in your life that you would consider to be great? Specifically, something in your life that you've done in your small amount of time on this earth that you would consider to be a great deed. What is it? What have you done?
Served in the military for my country.
Okay. Okay. That's your response. I don't get anything from these guys.
No.
I mean,
that's a good question. That's a very good question.
I mean, something like one. I met a young woman, as a matter of fact, who I asked that question to. I loved her response. She said, "I took care of my grandmother when she died from cancer."
Oh yeah.
And I was like, that is absolutely correct. That is a great thing. That is an absolutely great thing. Okay, thank you, Dredd. I appreciate it, man. Welcome, hot dog. Yeah. But a lot of these men, and I'm going to pick on Antifa for a second, so bear with me, you mask-wearing motherfuckers. A lot of those guys are joining Antifa specifically because they think it either makes them look cool, makes them popular, or it's going to get them laid. Because I don't know if you guys know this or not, Antifa was created by a woman. She created the organization. Okay? And the leaders of Antifa are women, majority. So a lot of the young, impressionable, because your brain doesn't stop developing until you're 24. Some of these very young, impressionable men are being told this ideology, this idea of what is actually real versus what's not real. And they're being told this by women in the Antifa organization. So
Wow.
I don't think that these men in Antifa are inherently evil. I don't want to believe that. I don't want to. In my soul, I don't want to believe that. But
Right.
I guess more importantly to you guys, what I really want to know is do you think it's mainly because of the lack of a father figure in the home? Because the average home doesn't have a father. I think it's like if you take
I think you nailed it.
The average of America right now in the African American community, it's 71% that single motherhood rate, and it's 43% in the Anglo-Saxon, 33% in the Latin, and I think it's still 9% in the Asian. But you know, if we're talking about the lack of the father figure in the home that's causing these men to not have direction, and the lack of proper guidance from the female towards women, telling them to value their virginity, telling them to value that aspect of their life. Hey, marriage before sex type thing. Think about it before you do it type thing, right? I don't think a lot of that's being taught now. I just don't think it is.
Right.
So,
Exactly. That the nuclear family has been decimated because of these, far left goons that are trying to change our country, and we have to fight back to family values, back to good morals, back to, loving God, praising Jesus, love God.
Judeo-Christian values.
That's the Judeo-Christian values, man. I don't care what religion you are. That's basically what this country's founded upon. I don't care how racist or whatever they think it is. I mean, look how it is now compared to what it was then. It's like black and white when you think about it.
And something on Judeo-Christian values. I think it's because words are very important. I've got a dictionary from, I think it's like 1967. And when I'm talking to some of these people that I train, that I teach, because by the way, I have technically 4 MOSs. I went to school for 3 of them. Okay, so I'm an 0311, of course, then I'm 0331, and then I'm an 0351. Okay, I got trained in 0341, but I do have 3 official MOSs. So I train people a lot to survive, weapons training, martial arts. Sometimes it's just life. I teach them how to be positive. Okay, and I just do this because I think it's necessary. That's the only reason why I do it. And one of the things I do is whenever they start talking about some of these terms, like the term racist and the term prejudice, some of these other more sensitive terms that we can't say on YouTube, I show them the dictionary version of it in 1967. And they can't believe it because the words have completely changed. The definitions of some of our values have changed. So when I tell people about, I made a video today about Judeo-Christian values. When I was talking to someone about it, they were like, well, I'm not Christian. I'm like, I'm talking about Judeo-Christian values. Yes, I told you I'm not Christian. I'm not talking about whether you're Christian. They don't even know what Judeo-Christian values are. They have no idea what it is. When you mention 313 AD, they don't know what the representation of that is. They don't even know that Christianity was given a name by a Caesar. They don't understand this. They don't know the history of religion. So it's Dredd made a very, very good point. It's almost like the brown shirts. They don't want our youth to know our past, because if they know our past, then anytime anyone gives these people and their stupid arguments, irrelevant arguments, any type of logical sense, it dissolves. I mean, Matt Walsh got incredibly, supposedly canceled or whatever, and I can't even ask you guys the question that he made a movie about, because if I put it on our live stream and someone flags us, we're going to get our live stream taken down.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we can't even speak freely anymore, and you're going to have people get mad at me for saying this, I already know it. They're going to argue that YouTube can do whatever they want as a free company. Okay, fair enough. All right, fine. But it's not just YouTube, and they know it. Okay.
Right. It's other platforms.
Well, I think, grew up in California, played music, all this, and I can go ahead and take a wild bet here that where I sit on the ideological spectrum is going to sit, almost polar opposite, from you guys on many cases, right? But to your point about learning things from culture in the past and stuff like that, I have I do a lot of things that are out of Buddhist practice. I'm not a Buddhist,
Right.
But there's value in finding things, right? It's like when you open up the toolbox, whether you're borrowing from cultures and things like that, you take a look and you say, hey, this is a good tool that's going to help me today,
Right.
So if it has value or it doesn't have value, good fit or not fit. But I think, to the point of the other portion of it is many of what you guys said, or Vincent, I don't want to speak for you, but like, I don't necessarily agree with, but I would sit here and I'm gonna, I want to hear what Vincent has to say because I value him as another human being, right?
Yeah.
And
that doesn't mean you have to agree with me.
Right. And one day I'm gonna be down in Texas and I'm gonna have beers with Vincent and I'm gonna go I'm gonna have spout on my
barbecue place.
I'm gonna spout on my soapbox and Vincent's gonna be like, yeah, Mark, I didn't agree with about 96% of what you had to say. I'm gonna be like, yeah, it's cool.
You can always agree to disagree, That's the way it was back then.
When did it become the staple though, guys? Like, dude, you're both good dudes. Like I don't give two shits if I agree with what you have to say. You say whatever the fuck you want. I don't care if I get mad about it. That's right. That's your right, dude. Like, I hope you disagree. Dude, you know what? I want you to argue with me on everything I say. I want us to have like 5 hours of discussion on why both of us are wrong. I would love that. That would be great. But like the concept that's happening right now though is if you disagree with me on this thing, that means you're a Nazi. Oh my God, that means you're racist. It's like the fuck. What I don't get this. I don't understand where the anger is coming from. And these people, if you've watched their videos, they're spitting at people. There was a guy. Yeah. Get this. There was a guy walking. Remember, they say the right is violent. I'm neither left nor right. I'm a Marine. That's what I am. So there was a guy walking around during the summer of love. Okay, this was 2020. He was putting locks in socks and slamming people's heads in. And he was having his buddy videotape him do it. Okay? He would walk around crowds. I don't know if the videos are still on YouTube or not, or on TikTok, but because I think they took him down. He was a part of Antifa, and he was walking and circling crowds, waiting for people to be in just the right position. And he would smash a lock on their head and a sock. Okay?
Wow.
They don't want to talk about it. They don't want anyone to know that it even happened. But he exists. And he's out there. He was never caught. And the people that saw him do it and knew that he was doing it covered up for him. Now.
Dirty.
Now, here's the thing, right? That bastard is evil. Okay? Now, Mark, let's say you're correct. Let's say you and I disagree on 96% of the things in the world. If I saw a dude do that to you in a crowd, nothing would stop me. I'd have to be dead. I don't care if you literally called me a freaking, all the horrible words that you could call me, Mark. If I saw a guy do that to you in the crowd, man, the Marines coming out, that dude is going to be on a slab. Okay,
I'm sure you've been in that. I'm sure you've been in a position too where you pull your buddy out of a situation and then yell at your buddy after the fact, like like even if your buddy, but you still yeah. So we could talk about that all day.
Joseph Stretz says Alex Stein was spit on at Penn State just recently, but
he was.
Dude, wow.
Yeah, they dropped the video last night, I think, and it's a chick. Or it's one of the alphabet, because we can't say apparently the other thing.
Yeah.
So one of the alphabet members, I don't know if it was a guy or a girl, I don't know, but yeah, she just spits on him. Now that's assault, by the way. Spitting on someone is assault. Okay.
Well, we just talked about this. Spitting,
yeah.
but we just talked about this with calling words what they are, because assault is
Yeah.
When you start calling spitting assault, then when someone gets really assaulted, then you have no word to use.
Agreed.
that says-
But I'm talking about by law. I'm talking about by law. By law,
Yeah,
spitting
yeah,
on
by
someone
law.
is considered to
Yeah.
be assault. Okay. Now,
Right.
I'm not going to call the police on someone for spitting on me. Okay. All right. That's a fight. Okay. When someone
Oh,
spits
yeah.
on me, that's a fight. Okay. And then we settle it that way. But and I agree with you, Mark. That is a completely different definition of what I would consider to be assault. But by the law, that is considered to be assaulting someone. Now, no one has arrested that woman, and no one has even like put her in trouble or him in trouble for doing what she did to him or he did to her. Okay,
Right.
I couldn't tell whether it was a dude or a chick. And he, being a man, didn't press charges. He just took it. Okay.
Wow.
Now, do I necessarily agree with the fact that there are people out there that can do that? No, I don't. Of course, I think that's rude. It shows the fact that that person is immature. It shows the fact that that person does not understand what behaving like an adult in public means. Okay, and us being where we have learned and where we have trained, we know that that is not correct behavior. That is not. Okay,
No, it's not.
So who didn't teach her or him?
I would say the parents, or the lack of parenting altogether. The schools have gotten out of control because they've gotten so indoctrinized with the kids to the far left. It's ridiculous. There's really hardly any role models anymore. Even churches are not safe to go to. I mean, it's crazy.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, that could be a whole different topic.
Buddhism
right
is
there.
so cool, Mark. By the way, just letting you know, Buddhism is awesome.
I had to get through quarantine somehow, right? You know, my wife was
Right.
like, you need to chill out because I'm stuck in this house with you. So,
All right.
let's say some homes.
Oh, wow.
The quarantine.
Yeah.
Oh,
We could go on hours with this type of topic and it'll last forever. But anyway, guys, I'm about to wrap up this show.
All right.
Please support Mark. Is it Bernal? Is that how you spell it?
Yep, Bernal works for me. Yeah.
Good. Okay, man. Let me find that link here. Yeah, either us or them on the Kickstarter projects. Great looking book. I mean, all these books seems wonderful and well written and produced by writers and really great artists. So, guys, check it out. Buy a copy, 2 or 7 or 8.
Yeah, thanks
And
so
then,
much. Yeah,
and
Lester
then-
K Comics on Twitter and Lesser Known Comics on Instagram too. If you know, don't be a stranger. Anybody, like, you know,
Absolutely.
hit us up.
Yeah, hit us up, man. Thanks for coming on. There's some new comics before I go. Yeah, and of course, there's a YouTube channel. This is your YouTube channel, Vincent. Yeah, subscribe to Vincent's YouTube channel. And of course, Lesser Known, you have a YouTube channel, sir. Mark, do you have one?
We have a podcast called I Don't Know Shit About Comics. It's available
Okay.
on any streaming platform. And yeah, if you want to be offended, that's a good one to go start at.
I don't know shit about comics. There you go. Starts out that way, and hey, I'm sure it's a wonderful, cool podcast to really get into.
I would. I want to cordially invite both of you, Apex, Mark. I'm trying to form my circle, okay?
Right.
And I've had my first argument in chat this week, and I've had my first negative comment. So I'm getting my cherries popped all over. And
There you go, man.
But me and my buddy Clouds, we are going to attempt to. We don't want it to be completely political, okay? We want to talk about a lot of different things. We want pop culture in there, but we do want the chat to kind of guide the topics. We will set up topics or whatever. We want guests to come on. I am trying to make something that is for everyone, and I say that specifically. Okay, Mark made a very, very good point earlier. And it's that, you know, we're not going to agree with each other. And that's the point. Your best friend isn't your best friend because he says yes to you all the time. That's not a best friend. That's a yes man. Okay. Your best friend challenges you all the time.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes.
You know,
that's how people get better. You know?
Thank you. You know, you don't marry a woman. I mean, some men do. Some men want a slave. I understand that. And some women want a slave too. They're never going to be happy, but they're going to do that. But women want men that challenge them, and men want women that challenge them. It's the same concept. And that's some of the stuff we're going to be talking about. I don't know exactly yet. Those of you that are watching, come and check out my channel. Please check, like, subscribe to the videos. If I offended you in my videos, then the video worked. All right. If you liked it, then my video worked as well. Okay. As soon as I know for a fact, you guys are more than welcome. Both of you are more than welcome to come on. I would love for you to come on and give your thoughts. And Clouds is also from the Latin community, Mark. So you guys will have a lot of stuff to talk about on that. But I always like to make fun of him because he's from the Dominican Republic, and we go back and forth because I'm white bread. Okay, like I am like South redneck white bread, right? And he is like hardcore Dominican Republic. So we're always like going back and forth. Our banter is hilarious.
I have Scottish blood. So
there you go. See, I've got a little bit of Scottish, but it's mostly Cajun and something else. Who knows?
Majority of Scottish and German, and it's crazy.
All right. Thank you guys so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. All right.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, gentlemen.
And guys, check out the I Don't Give a Shit About Comics podcast, and of course, subscribe to Vince's Stay Down. If you haven't already, subscribe to Apex Comics. Like, share, ring bell for notifications. Yeah, all having fun, spreading a word of good pop culture, good writing in comics, and good subjects that we can all agree or disagree with.
There you go. All right.
There you go. So thanks, everyone. God bless the chat. Thanks for my chat. Check this program on the replay. Have a wonderful, blessed week, guys. And again, there may be an Apex. What was it? Apex After Dark? I'm not sure. I don't have a guest yet, but I'll find one. So anyway, take care, and God bless everyone. Have a great day. Ciao for now.
Bye, Mark. Bye, Apex.
Bye.